Hi, sorry I couldn't be there for our meeting today, but there's just a few things I wanted to share briefly. This won't take long, and they're about leadership and leading your team. So you guys are leaders, yeah, which means you have a team. Whether how effectively that team operates at the moment is possibly up to you. Any organisation, and within the church there are lots of organisation levels. There's the network. There's locations, there's zones, there's MCs. All of those are organisations, and any one of those will only operate as well as the people and the leaders that you have. Our core business is people. That requires us to work in teams of people according to some systems. Now, teams need to have team leadership, a group of leaders. A team's not going to function terribly well if there's a single leader. And so we want to develop teams of leaders. Now, teams have to have a common goal, a vision that as the team leader, it's your role to cast that vision, to work that out, share it with your team, make sure that they get to understand it and know it, and hopefully take that on board. What you will find with your team is that there are some members of the team who are not team members. Now, I know that sounds quite contradictory, but it's not. Hear me out. There will be people who will join your team, and even people who will step up and say, yes, I'm happy to lead, I will do these things. But they don't function as members, as team members, because they're not necessarily sharing in the vision and the goal. They're not working towards the common goal. They might have some of their own goals, some of their own reasons for being in leadership and doing what they're doing. And they're not really part of your team. They're on the team, but they're not part of the team. And so it's really important for you to work out how to deal with those people. There are a couple of options. One, you can just ditch them. Not a good plan. You can cast them out and say, no, look, you're not working in this team. I don't want you here. Now, it may eventually come to that, but hopefully before you get to that point, you've tried some other approaches. And that involves confronting probably the issue, but really seriously training and working with the person to understand them and for them to understand you and the team and what the goals of the team are and how important it is for them to be team members, real team members. I at one point coached a junior football team, and we weren't a particularly good team, but due to the ability of the individual boys in the team, but there were one or two guys who thought they were probably better than the rest, and they played like that. And so what they did was to make themselves look good. It wasn't for the benefit of the team, and that became a bit of a challenge for me as a coach at that point to try and turn that around and get them playing for the team. And it's interesting that some people will look from the outside and see that, oh, that person's doing really well, when actually they're not meeting the goals of the team. They're doing things to make themselves look good. So you just need to be aware of that. That can happen. But you can work with those people and turn them around and get them to become great members of your team. What's really important is you don't spend your time complaining about those people, because people that you are complaining about, you are elevating to a position above where they should be. You're actually putting them as the focus of the leadership. And so try to avoid complaining and encourage people rather than complain. Any team requires you to build. Yeah, you can't just have a team without building it. It's an ongoing task is to build your team. And that's from the very beginning when you need to recruit people to be part of your team, but it's an ongoing process. And some things that will help as you do that are these. The very first one, and probably the most important aspect of team building, is personal growth of the leader, of you. You're the one. You need to have a very clear understanding of who you are, what you can do, what the goal of your team is going to be, and developing yourself so that you can model to your team what you are looking for. Yeah. If you want your team to be a team that always turns up on time and is punctual and ready to go, it's really important that you turn up on time and are always ready to go and well organised with what needs to happen. If you want your team to be a team that, let me think, is generous, then it's important that you model that generosity. And it's important, if you want your team to be a praying team, then they need to see that you are a praying leader and that you're praying for them. So work on developing yourself first, because the team will only develop into what they see of their leader. So first one was personal growth of the team leader. Second one, growth of team members. For team members to grow, they need to have a really clear understanding of what their role is. And so it's important that you clarify with them what their role is. You need to identify what they're good at, what their strengths are, and how they can contribute to the team, and encourage them. Help them to maybe look and say, okay, these are things you're not so good at. They're important, so how about you work on this and this and this to improve in that area. But very much in an encouraging frame. Relationships within the team are really important between you and your team members, and so you really do need to like your team. The good news is that I like you guys who are part of this team, and so we've got that going for us already. But building relationship with your team is really important, that they understand that they are valued by the leader, they are recognised and appreciated. The third thing is that any good team will be a team that works on systems, not reactions. Yeah? Systems mean that you know ahead of time, when this happens, this is what we do. When this is due to happen, this is how we go about it. Rather than, oh, something's wrong, what will we do? We react. And so developing systems to have your team work are really important. Okay, we have systems around how we run garage, and we have a garage manager who understands, and so preparations are made beforehand. People are allocated to different tasks. They know what those tasks are. We've got systems in place for things like that. Yeah? People need to be trained in those systems so that they know what to do when something happens, and it's not just a reaction to there's a disaster, what am I going to do here? Yeah? So we need to make sure our people are trained in those. Fourth, we need to give clear expectations of our team members. They need to know exactly what it is that we want them to do and at what level we expect that to be done. And as well as that, they also need to have a timeline attached to that expectation, so that, like, I could say to someone, okay, I need you to go and do evangelism. And if I leave it at that, it's very hard for them to necessarily, no, it's not hard. It's very easy for them to not fulfill that expectation, because I haven't said, I actually need you to go and do evangelism this week for 1 hour. Then I've made it really clear what the expectation is. And so expectations come with what it is that you want done, how you want it done, and when you want it done. Okay? And so that's an important part of the expectations that we give to our team as we're training them. And finally, the last one that I wanted to talk about is the need to celebrate our team. Celebrate them around the vision and the values. Celebrate people for what they have done and what they've achieved, but celebrate them even when no particular milestone has been reached. But it's really important that we have times of celebration. You'll know our MC Live schedule has a party in the last week of each month. The MC Live party that's the idea. It's about celebrating our MC and our MC members and doing that kind of thing. So having regular times to celebrate people, to recognise them, making sure that we know their birthdays and we're celebrating their birthdays and all of that sort of stuff. Okay, so they're just a few thoughts on leadership. I might come to you shortly with some questions that you can respond to with those. Okay, bye.